Pink Floyd and Eminem.
We have actually introduced a lot of previously non-theatre goers to the concept of theatre in perhaps a different light to what they would have normally envisaged it to be.
Engaging a punch bag symmetry has a society symmetry where deadheads he's never tried to impress rest in the inconsistency of their rules and deregulations.
I find the Fringe very exciting because in many ways it can experiment in a way that mainstream theatre can't.
White is the inside of an eggshell and lined like unironed sheets, and there's a soft down grown like vitamins. I say, well, he says, well, that's what these are for. Why not a banana or orange?
There wasn't anywhere that you could go where artists, actors, writers and directors could go to find each other, to work with one another. There was a fringe scene available, but it was all quite fractured, really.
What Studio Salford does is just provide a platform for new writing and new work, and a lot of people have come through Studio Salford that have gone on to be very successful, whether it be actors or writers.
Was the man's name God, or Tony, or Rupert, or Margaret, or Adolf, Chuck, or Rod? Or a name made unpronounceable by the very evil of its nature? A name with more letters than there are scars in the sky, filth in the sea.
Well, I originally was involved with Studio Salford through the Embryo Night, really. I started off playing music at the Embryo event, actually. And then I tried out bits of writing that little bits of plays that I'd written. And the first play that I put on here as a Studio Salford production, I tried that out as a 10-minute sketch at Embryo, and it kind of worked, and it gave me the impetus to kind of finish it. People laughed at it, which was helpful because it was a comedy. So I knew that I was kind of heading in the right direction with it. So Embryo was a really good thing for me because it helped me to kind of realise kind of ideas from a kind of a director point of view as well as a writer point of view. So you could, it gave me an opportunity to try out a 10-minute sketch and just to see what it looked like. And then when I went back to the computer and started writing again, I had a much kind of clearer idea about who my characters were, for example.
I do each while I sing a little song, but now the time has come to dry. Turn to the left, what meets me eye is paper left, but it's not very long.
My in-house company, House of Orphans, is part of Studio Salford here at the King's Arms. And I've been involved with Studio Salford for about 3 or 4 months. And previous to that, I was a freelance producer. I started life as an actor, and then I did a master's in creative writing and decided to fuse the two and started producing my own work and then producing for other people. And then Studio Salford approached me and asked me if I'd like to be an in-house theatre company here to produce work. So this season, for example, I've got a show starting this week called Blackbird, which has already had good reviews, and it's got a Manchester Theatre Award nomination. And I've also got another slot in May. We're going to do a previously published play. So that's my involvement so far with Studio Salford.
And it made her colour dissipate, and her hair fall out, and her teeth rattle in her skull. He put her in a box in the ground, and it was his turn to look after her.
It's really good for the theatre because a lot of people just walk in on spec. It's going through an interesting phase at the moment because the pub's just been taken over by Paul Heaton, who used to be in the Beautiful South and the House Martins. He owns the place with his partner, and his partner, Zena, and her business partner, Michelle, used to run the Etc. Theatre in London, and they also run the Camden Fringe festival each year. So you've got the reputation of a pop star, basically. So lots of people have started coming in just to have a nosy round, and then find out that there's all this stuff going on upstairs. There's also gigs as well, and there's poetry, and there's all sorts of stuff. So it's really varied.
Your mother and your daddy. The sheriff took him away. He died in prison, Mama said.
And the little child shall lead them.
The added attraction to that is that you see things perhaps only a few people will ever see, and that's exciting. But also, many times you get to see people at the beginning of their career, and it's just very exciting to see people flourishing.
Writing a letter to America, and his arm went mental. A bit John Pertwee and Exploding Watch, a bit Frilly Shirt and Apocalypse, a bit Mr. God from Dulwich. As he signed his name, Bob, with cryptic agility and an undeniably avant